You know, as someone for me personally, I've really spent most of my career working for an organization, and having to transition to being an entrepreneur was not easy for me. I didn't really have the skills and I
Mm.
didn't know what it took to really own your own business, to kind of create all that because I never had to do it. And I just found it very strange. And NLBP really gave me the tools, the support and, the camaraderie to
Mm.
really allow me to create this business that I'm really proud of. And I'm proud of, how far it's come. And I couldn't have done it.
Hello and welcome. I'm Catherine Gagno. I am the Executive Director of the Natural Life Business Partnership. I'm excited to see and be with everyone. Today, we are so excited. It's Tribe Talk Day, and we are here and we're going to feature, of course, we always feature our members of the Natural Life Business Partnership. We are a unique global business community of very high achieving, soul-centered entrepreneurs who want to up-level their business. And co-create with other like-minded professionals. And when I say like-minded, we all come from various different industry backgrounds, but we all come with a heart-centered. And that's really the unique quality about this group. We collaborate, we guide one another, we hold each other accountable, we model what's possible, we provide resources and inspire to aim higher. There's incredible power when the empowered, enlightened gather together. And that is just so true through these tribe talks. I've been learning so much about each individual member and their unique business in the healing arts that they bring to the table. So it's really a great opportunity to see and hear from various folks. So today I'm thrilled to introduce Erin Baker. She is a holistic health practitioner with a slew of additional certifications, including health coach, life coach, transformational coach, clinical laboratory technologist, and has over 15 years, I love this, as a research scientist specializing in clinical chemistry and therapeutic substance monitoring. She is passionate about health and wellness and finding natural ways to allow the body to heal and return to optimal health. So let us welcome Erin, and we're going to get her on the call right now. Admit. And here we go. Up, there she is. Hey, Erin, how are you? There we go. Good to see
Hello.
you.
Good to see
Hello.
you.
I was just sharing your background, but I also was remiss and didn't share that you've actually just celebrated 5 months with us here at the NLBP. So it's a great way to kick off your membership doing a tribe talk with us. And, I think because you just started, which is 5 months, so about April, I think we started at the same time. I think we have that in common. So as signed on as executive director. So, and you're still doing a day job and you're coaching. So how has has the NLBP played a role in your business? How has it helped you? What, would love to hear a little bit about that first. And then we want to get back in. Then we want to chat about your journey as well.
Yeah. As someone for me personally, I've really spent most of my career working for an organization, and having to transition to being an entrepreneur was not easy for me. I didn't really have the skills and I didn't know what it took to really own your own business, to kind of create all that because I never had to do it. And I just found it very strange. And NLBP really gave me the tools, the support and, the camaraderie to really allow me to create this business that I'm really proud of. And I'm proud of, how far it's come. And I couldn't have done it without
Right.
this
When
group.
you started with your business, were there certain things at NLBP, like were there certain resources that you truly tapped into? Was it the accountability triads? Was it a culmination? And when you joined, and I'm always curious about when people join, whether it be an association, any type of a organization that they join. Sometimes people just join to join, but other people have a very much, like a detailed list of the things in which they're looking to get out of it. What approach did you use?
I really kind of went in open,
Okay.
which is what I tried to do. Is I didn't really know what to expect. I just knew
Okay.
I really resonated with everyone that I met when I went to the meet and greet. And I really never experienced a group like that. And so for me, I will say my favorite thing is the what's working, what's not, and why group that they have, and where you get to go and we can really share our accomplishments. But if we have any questions, it's this group where they can give you their advice and their insight, and it's really work through any problems that you're having. And even if you don't have a question, you get so much from the other people's questions and their concerns that so you leave with so much information. And I love that. That's actually my favorite part of NLBP. The accountability triads, again, that's great to have some accountability in these other people helping you and supporting you. And my group, we meet once a week and we check in and we have goals. And that also keeps me on the right track.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's always, I think, a challenge, especially being an entrepreneur. It's easy to not, you always have to have, even as a coach, that's what your role is to help others stay accountable for the things, etc. So I think that that's really a value that I think people don't realize that NLBP is offering. So I think it's amazing. It's good to hear you, and it resonated with you. So this is kind of the fun part, but a research scientist, like, I think it's just mind blowing. It's just amazing. But in the process of shifting your focus, but your background provides probably a great foundation for this next step. So I would love to hear, and you had talked about Western medicine, et cetera, when we were on the call. I would just love to hear how this foundation, which I do love it, because I know there's some folks that come in, there maybe were within yoga, like in different healing art areas, but I love that you have this real, you get the big picture, I don't know, in a different way than I think others may or might. So maybe it's cutting edge, maybe it helps you in terms of clients that you'll bring on, but, share with us about your background, and also share where you thought maybe it was time for you to make a shift, or what was that pivoting point in your own self that said, what, I want to take all this knowledge and apply it elsewhere. Love to hear that journey.
I've kind of dedicated my life to really understanding how the human body works. And I did it in a very traditional way, and really it's a very physical allopathic way. So, really like the chemical processes, like the nitty gritty, and, testing, procedure interpretation. I worked in a laboratory really my whole career. And, now as I've evolved and I've become more holistic and understanding that really the body knows how to heal itself. That was a huge shift for me in my career and in my life. I was really trained that our body can only do so much. We need pills, we need, drugs. And then really understanding that's not how it works, that our body actually is beautiful in how it knows how to heal itself. And, so I'm in, as a holistic health practitioner, I'm in the process of becoming a doctor in natural medicine. I love that I can merge those two sides, and I think they merge perfectly. And I think that that's been overlooked for so long, is understanding there's a place for both, and understanding that if you are in crisis, if you're having an acute, disease or illness, injury, Western medicine is necessary, right? If you have appendicitis, a car accident, something, I'm not going to tell you to go meditate on top of a mountain over it. You need to go to the hospital. But when you're in a disease state, when your body is in dis-ease and it's not healthy, that's really where the holistic natural side comes in. And it shouldn't necessarily be a pill. That's when you should be supplementing and understanding, that health is more than just this physical body we're in. There's stress, there's nutrition, there's movement, there's, the mindset that all goes into play. And that's what I really focus on, is just combining those two. And I just think that's what's been overlooked, is they should have been combined, and they make sense to be combined. And, and that's why I guess that was my shift probably back in my 30s, is when I started to realize it isn't one or the other. It's both, and they work beautifully.
Do you think, and this was not part of our guideline questionnaire, but do you think as we progress towards the future, do you think it'll start to become more intertwined, or do you think they will still stick in their lanes, if you will? I don't know. If you had a crystal ball, would you say, how would you think it could play out based on the intelligence in which and the experience you've had thus far?
I
It
hope it
seems like a
does.
no-brainer.
Yeah. I mean, see, exactly. But unfortunately, healthcare is a business in the US. So I don't think it's going to, evolve as nicely as we would like, because at the end of the day, it's all about the dollar
Right.
and the amount of money that is made off, healthcare itself. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. So when instead is it a pill or is it meditating, which is free? Which are you going to choose?
Right.
If it's eating more vegetables or taking a pill, which one brings more money at the end of the day? So
Right. Okay.
unfortunately, I mean, I would love to see it evolve, and I hope it does, and that they merge together, but I think it's going to be a little while.
Okay. I was curious about that,
Yeah.
because it seems from where I sit as a consumer, it feels like a no-brainer, and it seems to make sense on so many different levels.
Mhm.
And to your point, it is a business. But hopefully, maybe the more that see the value, they will start to work together and integrate
Yes,
together.
exactly. That's what we're hoping.
Right. Well, with that intelligence that you have as a 20-year veteran in the industry, um, what are the top 3 pointers that you can share with our audience, kind of about your journey and how, like little nuggets, I think of them as like little nuggets of intelligence that we collect along the way. But what are those 3 pointers that resonate with you today that have helped you? I'd love to kind of hear your
Yeah.
thoughts and your
You
share.
know, I think it's, for me, one of the biggest takeaways was, what I knew 20 years ago to be like the truth may not necessarily be the truth that I would believe today as we sit here, in regards to health and in regards to, medicine and science,
Mhm.
and to be open. The more open I am to learning different points of view and different modalities, the more that what I consider to be the truth about health, it changes and it shifts, and it will continue to as time goes
Right.
on. I'm constantly evolving, and my thoughts and my experiences are evolving, and so will my truth about what is health and wellness will also be evolving. And that was really a big thing for me to just accept and embrace that was going to happen, and it's okay, you
Right.
know and and I guess to kind of go along with that, another is that, health and science is evolving and
Right.
changing. And that's really how it should be, and that we shouldn't be stuck in one way of thinking. We should be evolving. We should be learning more, and we should be embracing the new data and the research that comes out, and understanding that, finding new ways to heal and also returning to old ways of healing that maybe we'd forgotten about is
Right.
really the future. And we should be focusing and open to all of that, and understanding that it's, healthcare and science isn't a one size fits all, that it's
Right.
individualized and it's specialized to the individual. And that's where the science is evolving and changing, because it isn't always one size fits all. There's going to be different answers and different results when it comes to science and to our human body. We're all unique,
Right.
and to be open to that.
I love how you just I love that. But I love how you talk about it's an evolution, because it's a body evolution, it's a growth mind evolution, and it's this openness to consistently be willing to learn, right? And
Mhm.
I think somebody had shared with me recently that if your mind is closed, then nothing will really work. Even, maybe a pill may work, but it was interesting. And I never really thought about it, but it's just, having this really open mind and not being closed. And you just reiterated that again. And I love that. But I do think it is an evolution, and the
Mhm.
evolution is probably always going to happen. And I do like that you also mentioned taking dare I say, older practices, or practices, from yesteryear, if you will, that have worked well, but seem
Mhm.
sometimes to get abandoned by new practices. I think that that's so applicable, and it's really super, super smart. So I think evolution and growth mindset, and always being willing to learn, right?
Mhm. Yeah. 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 And I think that would even be like my third really takeaway is that, even when it comes to not all areas of our life, not just health, but also including like your business, your career, your family, is to just, to not be afraid to try something new, to open yourself up to new possibilities, and understand that you're an individual, and what works for you may not work for someone else. And, I always, say, ask questions. If it doesn't feel right, then it's not for you, whether it's healthcare, whether it's your career, whatever that is. And don't be afraid to ask more questions. Don't be afraid to change, and to just, again, be open, in any area of your life, to just allow what's meant to be, let it come.
It must be that's that soul-centered entrepreneur. And, I think it's a mentality, because thematically I keep hearing it from each person within these tribe talks. And it does come from that heart, that soul. That's, I wish everyone else in the world would adopt this principle, because as simple as it seems, I'm sure it's much more difficult to come to that place. But you've just nailed it in terms of what it means to be a soul-centered entrepreneur. Because it's almost leading, not just leading with the heart, but listening. I think, it's not like you just jump in and don't think things through, but you really listen to your heart as well, it seems. And not, like I said, not just you, but every person I've talked to through these tribe talks has had, in some way, shape, or form, has said something very similar. So I love the thread that was, we're kind of just threading it through. If we could be building a quilt, it would be beautiful at the end. So I wanted to also just, as a member of the community, if there's one piece of advice in the past 5 months that you've gained, what would it be? Like, that just bubbles to the top, from whether it be through that you had gotten through through an accountability triad, or what's working, what's not, or I could just call it the W3 call. What is one piece of advice, and even if it wasn't something that you had asked, but that you had heard and you were like, wow, that's really super smart, that's brilliant, I'm happy I got that answered, or I'm happy I heard that, because it really has now helped me. Because you even said sometimes just listening in on these calls has been very tremendous and helpful. So I'd love to hear what your piece is.
Somebody in the beginning said, don't be afraid to ask. And I have to say that was probably the best piece of advice, because I have found that in this group, if you ask the question, someone has either been there, done it, or knows how to help. And they are so willing to support you and to show you what you are looking for and the answers that you need. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, you can go there and you could ask what you think is the stupidest question. Right. Like for me, I am a new business owner, right? This isn't my wheelhouse. I can ask a question and there'll be 10 people answering me. Hey, you want to jump on a call? I know I've been there. I know exactly what you're going through. And to have that support and understanding, I mean, that's what's priceless, is to have this group that really can relate to you and where you are, and this kind of soul-centered entrepreneurship, which is unique.
It is super unique. And so with that, it goes back to your, may or may not be your mantra, but it's, ask. Ask the questions. Because if we don't ask, you don't receive either, right? So I think I do love that. And you're actually the first person, I have to be honest, I think it's interesting going through these tribe talks. Everybody there's a thread, but there's also, each person has a very unique perspective or value add. Like in yours is almost like ask questions. And I love that, or just always, in this evolution. So I do think that that's an amazing component to share with everyone. But I also, like I said, I love that you bring this very science, you bring science to the table, but you also make it, part of a holistic experience, which I think is, because sometimes I think if you're on a holistic side, not knowing that in science part, I do think there's a lot of intelligence there that I think is so important. And I do hope that this is a wave of the future. And hopefully, you're an inspiration to those that are in the field, that you can help say, hey, this does work, and you can do both sides of the equation. Like, I do think that you are, if you can do it, that means other people can as well. So I hope you feel a little bit of a trailblazer.
Well, thank you.
Within the space, because I do think I hope it is the wave of the future. And that more folks feel inspired to do what you're doing, and, take this leap, and, because you're not necessarily abandoning, you're just pivoting, and,
exactly.
And I think that that's what's important. There's no abandonment of one side or the other. It's just bringing the two together and treating in a holistic, but yet, science is science at the end of the day too. I mean, it's real.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. I love you said pivot,
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's a pivot. And I think it's just a new path. So with that being said, is there anything else that you wanted to add that I didn't touch on? I think we covered everything. And I'm going to leave it with, ask questions. If anyone has questions, you can, I will let Erin answer them. No. But I think that, that brings me, maybe this is something that we will do and have like an ask session or something. I don't know about, I know we do our meet and greets, and I think so anyone that does come to those, it's a great time to ask questions of the group. But, maybe this is, you might have just uncovered a whole new session that we're going to do. A roundtable ask why session.
Oof, I will be there.
I know, right? Like, I think that could be kind of fun. So, but I want to just thank you for joining us today and being a part of this. And I think it's great that you're a really active member of the NLBP, because I think we all know is what you put into it is really what you get out of associations, organizations. And I really, really love all the valuable insights that you shared with us today. So I want to just say thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed this. This was wonderful.
All right, good. So till the next time, take care.
Yes.